Manifesting Me. My name is Abigail Unfred, and I will be interviewing a few small businesses here in Kansas City about mental health and how they run their small business and some of the habits that they've picked up along the way that made their business successful. Today, I'll be meeting with Andy Ohanlon with Equipbid Auctions. How are you today, Andy?
Good to meet you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of get everybody understanding what you do and a little bit about your company. What is Equipbid Auctions?
Well, I appreciate it. Equipbid Auctions is an online auction company. We started in 2009, and we started as an online auction company. What does that mean? All the bidding on our auctions is done on our website. So we're not what you might think of as a traditional auction company where you have a crowd of people standing in a room or a building and an auctioneer is calling bids and everybody's raising their hand for that final bid. All that part happens online. So we take the pictures, we write the descriptions for the assets that we're selling, and then we list them on our website. And then the buyers, they come to our website on their own time frame and can bid on the items. So whether it's at night and they can sit there in their PJs or, at work or wherever they are, they have the flexibility to bid on their own time frame from where they're at. They don't have to make a trip to that auction facility to bid or location. They can bid wherever they're at. And then obviously if they end up winning an item, then they do have to pick the item up. So like I said, we've been in business since 2009, which is almost 14 years. April will be 14 years, and it's been a fun ride.
Awesome. Well, and you have how many different affiliates that are?
Currently, we have just over 80 affiliates. And what is an affiliate? An affiliate is, when we first started our auction platform, we ran all of our auctions ourselves. So we did all the work of listing the auctions, putting it on a website. We still conduct that as the auction company, Equipbid. We still have a couple different groups that we do auctions for. However, we built what we call affiliates. Affiliates are independent business owners that run their own auctions using our platform, or what we call a marketplace now. And so there's 80 of them. And these affiliates, we started in Kansas City. However, we have affiliates in Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, all over the place. And there's literally thousands of items at any given time on the website.
Well, and I've always been super impressed that they're all of your affiliates are small businesses. So you are actually creating jobs within your region for, small businesses. Obviously, they have to create the LLC themselves, but you give them tools and resources to be able to grow their business with a business model that you have put in stone.
We do. The backbone of our business is on other small businesses, and it's kind of a good feeling to watch these companies grow, because a lot of our affiliates started from zero. Mm-hmm. And they might have had a little business experience, but they've gone from, maybe a mom and pop business, and some of these affiliates that we have grown into successful businesses. Some of our largest ones, they might have 10 plus employees, and they're doing auctions almost every day.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's always an auction up on your site. So I brought you on today because I know in that 14 years of time that you've been in business, you've had, I'm sure, a ton of ups and downs and a ton of moments that you're like, F this, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. It's draining on my mental health and my family or whatever was going on at that time frame. So tell me some of the habits that you've developed, maybe just a few of the habits that you've developed that have helped you reset and recharge on your day-to-day so you can continue another day.
Absolutely. Running a small business or any business is always full of its own challenges, but I think life is full of challenges too. And
I agree.
Whether you choose to have challenges running a business or just challenges as being an employee, I enjoy the challenge of running a business.
Do you have just one on the top of your head that kind of has stuck with you, like a challenge that you thought in the moment it was gonna break you, but it was a conquer moment?
Well, when I first started doing auctions, this is years ago. This is even before Equipbid. I wanted to be out on my own. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have a whole lot of money back then. I was as broke as anyone else. And one thing I did was go to an auction,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought a trailer and with a little bit of equipment, and pretty much spent my life savings. It wasn't a lot. I don't even know if it was $1,000, honestly, but spent that, and with the idea that, hey, I can resell, I can make something happen. And my wife at the time was like, oh my gosh. She's like, what are you doing? We don't have the money to do this. Well, obviously, I sold the items, made a couple bucks, and pretty much never looked back. It kind of got the bug of hustling, buying and selling. And, obviously there's a lot more to it than, but that's a stepping stone.
It was, yeah.
And it's believing in something that maybe others don't even see, that, you believe in yourself. And that's a key part of it, is really never having the fear of knowing that no matter what, you can make it happen.
So just not listening to the haters.
Absolutely.
Okay, no, we're not going to listen to the haters, which I think is a big thing. Is a lot to go with your mental health. Is what was the motivating force? Because not everyone can just say, I'm going to go spend my life savings on a trailer and it's going to work out, and I'm going to do this after I do this. That takes an extra special. So who was the motivating force in the person in the back of your head that has always kind of just driven you to continue with your business?
I would say, both my parents and my wife's parents were both entrepreneurial. Mm-hmm. My dad started his own business, and my wife's dad started his own business also. And so we kind of both grew up in the mindset of, you got to hustle, you got to do what it takes to make something happen. And we also got to see the success of what it can be. They both had their ups and downs in their businesses, and obviously they're older now and retired. But throughout the years, there's been struggles in their businesses that we got to see and learn from as we grew up being younger. And so I had that in the back of my mind, is, they did it. Why not? I can do it.
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of an important factor. If you have somebody that you've seen a model that succeeded, and even if it wasn't completely successful, it was, I think a lot of business owners can relate to, some days we're just feeding our family. That's all, you're going to get out of it for some days. And, and in the hopes that it does build for a bigger, better future.
Absolutely. And, another thing that's a motivating factor is when somebody tells you that you can't do something.
You want to do it even
you're
more.
You're like, I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And, back in the days of auctions, they used to be live. And when we started our auctions, we chose specifically to do online only. Mm-hmm. And now you look at auctions, there's a lot of online only auctions. But when we first started, that wasn't the case. And a lot of them were live. There was some that were transitioning, but the majority of auctions, at least in this area, were live auctions. And a lot of auctioneers were like, who's this kid doing this? Mm-hmm. You can't make that work. Online doesn't work. Well, that I wanted to prove them wrong. And obviously I did.
You did, yeah. I mean, I think that you've made a household name out of Equipbid in this region for auctions. Have any of those doubters tried to do anything to defer you from your focus? So, like, even has it ever gone past a point of them just saying you can't do this? Have you had struggles where other people have tried to put challenges in front of you, and how have you overcome those challenges?
I mean, they did, but part of it's just moving forward. One, in the auction world, there's a lot of people that have been multi-generational businesses. Auction companies, a lot of them are a family business that grandpa did the business, dad did the business, and now I'm doing it. So I'm a third generation auctioneer.
Yeah.
Well, I've had 50 years of auction experience here, mm-hmm. And they kind of brag on that. Well, an auction or selling stuff is only as good as your last auction.
Yeah.
And something you did 50 years ago, who cares?
Other than that, yeah, you sold that one cool item. You get to put that on your list, but the rest of
You
it, it's
can,
what's going on
but
today.
bragging rights are only worth so much. I mean, we've done some pretty cool auctions in the last 14 years that we've been around, but what are we doing today? How can we solve people's problems today for selling their items? That's what people care about. Just because you sold something cool 5 years ago doesn't mean that's relevant today.
Yes. No, I definitely agree. Um, with that being said, what would you say, like, how, if you were talking to a small business that has all of these tasks on their plate each and every day, which I know that you must have with such a big company, how do you know when to just set it down and be like, this is where I'm ending today? I cannot, mentally, how do you separate that where you can just mentally set down all of your tasks and get some rest, rejuvenate, recharge? How do you recharge, I guess, is a better way to put that.
Travel.
You travel. Okay, well, yeah, that does sound nice.
I think I'd have to actually put that on my wife a little bit. Is she likes to take vacations that don't have good cell phone service.
Smart woman. Okay, smart woman.
So that kind of forces you to have to disconnect a little bit because if your phone doesn't work, it's hard to communicate. And you have to rely on others, whoever's on your team. You can't do everything all the time, no matter what size of your business is. You have to rely on the people that work for you. And if you can't get to that point, then you never can really have a good business. And you can never grow it because you can't do everything.
Yeah.
You can try to do everything, but if you got to have other people you can rely on. And they might not have all the skill sets either that you wish you had, but obviously you have to rely on them because you can't do it all. You can't
So
be
like
there 24/7.
assign each people different their skill sets that just takes a little bit of burden off you, and you think that is what is the key factor, is not trying to take it all on your shoulders. When I mean when you're first starting a small business, not a lot of people have money to pay anybody. And for me, myself, I have mostly family. If I didn't have my cousin Ricky or my brother Mo or Chris or, all these people that would help me unload a truck or something like that in the middle of the night to make sure it was done the next day, I don't think my business would have grown at all either. So, and you run too, right? Do you think that, like, as far as your health, is that backpedal with being able to delegate those, once you did that, do you think that it helped the decisions healthy wise for your body and your business?
It did. And, over the years, my health, I had gained weight. Um, in fact, I was over 250 pounds at one time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, I got to be a little grow your business, grow your body, and I was growing it the wrong way, not the healthy way.
Right. Well, and I mean, you rely on gas station foods and things like that.
Absolutely. And so as I was getting older, things get a little more difficult. Your body starts to ache a little bit more. You feel it a little bit more. You jump off a ledge. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, God, I shouldn't have done that. When you're in your 20s, you can do anything. You think you're on top of the world. And, whether it's a late night partying or if it's just, you're working, nothing can stop you.
Right.
But age has kind of a way to bring you back to reality. And not that I'm that old yet. I don't feel old, but yes, there is some truth to that. And about 5 years ago, we were on a vacation. We did not know this was happening, but we were on a vacation in Hawaii, and the resort we were at happened to be where one of the Ironman competitions was. Mm-hmm. And I have two kids, and they're probably in middle school at the time. And one of them was like, saw these guys, Ironman is one of the elite competitions for athletes. You have to be just amazing to even have a chance to compete at that.
Right. They're the guys that move the tires and stuff, right?
No, that's the Ironman. You do 3 events. You do running,
okay,
bicycling, and swimming.
Okay.
But it's super long distance on all 3, and it's super endurance. You have to just be hardcore. And so my son saw those guys and was like, man, it's an inspiration, and it's I want to run. And he got me into running.
Really?
And so I was like, well, heck, if you're going to do it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And so, and plus, as my health had kind of slipped away a little bit, it's like I was needing to do something too to get back on track. And so I give part of that credit to him because of his motivation to do it, kind of brought
Do you
it
guys
all
still
together
run
as a family.
today?
We do. In fact, both my kids love running. They both do track, cross country. I think my sons ran over 15 half marathons.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So with running, I mean, you probably have to have a super, we were saying a second ago, like gas station foods. What is kind of your simplified diet now where you keep your, your body right for running?
One thing I used to never know is, just food in, food out, hey, whatever it was, it just tastes good. Let's eat as much as possible. I remember one time working with one of the other employees, we just went and ordered this all-you-can-eat buffet, and we had a competition on who could eat the most. It's like food was a game. It wasn't something you just thought about. Well, that's not the most healthiest way to eat.
Yeah.
And a lot of the food's not necessarily the healthiest for you. And so part of that is learning what food is healthy and what food isn't. And it's amazing how much food has high calories in it. It's like they recommend 2,200 calories a day. Mm-hmm. Well, you can eat that in one meal, one setting, easy,
yeah.
without even thinking about it. Have that other piece of cheesecake.
All right. So with building those habits, what did you set alarms? It's for somebody that, might have bad healthy, habits with their small business right now. What would be a good strategy for them, like, to just start? Was it just a day where you were like, I'm totally fed up and I'm just going to start eating healthy today, and you never looked back?
I did. And, part of it is setting goals.
Okay.
And I really did that on the getting healthy and the weight loss thing. Someone had said, well, why don't you lose 20 pounds? Mm-hmm. And that was back when I was around 250. And I was like, 20 pounds really isn't going to do it, though. I need to be healthy. That doesn't even get me into the right BMI to be in a healthy range.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what's it going to take? I set the goal on where I need to be. And that was my focused goal. And I was like, I'm going to make this happen. And if I'm going to make this happen, that number's I'm going to get to it no matter what.
How long did that take you to get to your success goal?
It took me about 4 to 5 months.
Wow. That's really good. So you lost like 100 pounds?
In total, I lost about 80 pounds.
80 pounds. Okay. Sorry.
And it was a combination of, I started eating correctly.
Okay.
And obviously exercising, and running was the main way I chose to exercise.
Yeah.
But honestly, a lot of that was, just focused every day. I used to do calorie counting and write down what I ate for that day, knowing what I should and shouldn't eat, and really go, this is where I need to be, and not going over those numbers. Setting boundaries on, with always looking toward that ultimate goal. And that's a great segue, even in your business. Doing the same thing is like, you can talk about where you want to be, but if you don't have those hard goals set and focus on those goals, it's just a dream.
Parameters and discipline.
Absolutely. Discipline and setting those goals. If you set those up, and if you go, I want to do X amount in sales this year, or I want to grow to 3 locations, or I want to branch out this way. If you see those goals, write them on your mirror in your bathroom, so you look at it every morning when you wake up. Put it on your desk at work. Put those goals there so you can focus on those. If that's really what you want to do with, and you see that as a success metric for your business, then focus on that, and you'll hit those goals.
Well, and I'm glad that you said it like that, because it really, like, if you write it down and put it on your mirror, and it's, you're manifesting that at that point. Do you think that, like, the reason why that your business is as successful as it is now is because you manifested those healthy habits, you put them in action, and do you think that your decisions prior to your healthier lifestyle have changed? Do you think, or your mindset, has your mindset changed since you changed your habits?
It has, because you realize that any goal can be accomplished. You look back, and sometimes you get frustrated and go, oh, life's hard. My business has issues, whatever that is. Well, there's always challenges, but sometimes it's good to look back and go, how many goals did I hit?
Yeah.
Look at what I have done. It's don't always chase what everybody else is doing. Appreciate what you have done for yourself and where you have gotten from where you were. You can always, there's always a shiny object. Somebody's always got a nicer house, a bigger, a faster car, more money in their pocket. If you're chasing that, you'll never be happy. But if you set your own goals and achieve those goals, that's all you can ask.
Definitely. I definitely think that the keeping up with the Joneses is only going to leave you broke. I mean, 9 times out of 10,
absolutely,
that's all it's going to do.
And a lot of times, perception you see on the front end of those Joneses isn't reality either.
No, it's definitely true. I mean, I know I personally, faced this for a little bit in my own company, where you're trying to keep up with competition and advertisement and this and that. And something I've always respected about you is you didn't even start paying for ads until recently. It was all word of mouth until you started getting a little bit more involved in social media and things like that. For as far as I'm going to take a couple steps back here, because there's just a point I really want to touch base on. I think a lot of people that own small businesses and start small businesses are doing it for their family. Myself included, I have 2 small children. When you started your company, you had 2 small children. How has raising those children and raising a business affected you? And what kind of advice or tips would you give other people that are trying to juggle these 2 worlds?
It can be challenging, but you also have to realize, what's important in your life, and your kids are number one. They bring a purpose to your life, and for anyone that hasn't had children in their lives, they don't know that, but it's one of those things. And over the years, from when they were little to now they're teenagers, you want to be the inspiration and the role model that they strive to be, and we've tried to teach that to them over the years. And one thing about running a small business is we've shared with them the struggles and the triumphs of the business. They know as much about growing a business as anybody.
Yeah, because
I've shared everything, good and bad, on equipment with them. And so, maybe one day, who knows, they might run their own small business. They might start something, whether it's an auction company or who knows what they'll want to do. But it doesn't really matter what the business is. They'll have the background on what it takes, the
mindset.
Mindset.
You're filling their minds with the you can if you want to mentality. And that's awesome. I think that's awesome. With my daughter, man, she's feisty, but I think maybe it's an age too. When your kids were about 8 or 9, did they just hate everything that you did, no matter what you did?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, so that's where I'm at with mine, and that's why this question was important, because I'm like, I think maybe it's the industry that we work into, but being away from your kids for a while is mentally draining. When you're having to travel and stuff like that.
Well, there is you have to balance between your life of working and your family time. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't learn to balance that, you'll lose it.
Do you schedule?
You'll lose one or the other. I don't schedule hard times with either one, mm-hmm. but one thing I do make it a priority is try to be there for the events that the kids have and purposely be a part of their lives. whether that's a school event, something there, an activity, or if they're in sports, being there for that, or just being involved in their lives.
Just being present.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so when you're there, do you shut your phone off? Because I know for your online business, you get a lot of calls and you're constantly being, hounded by different people. Do you commit to just turning off the world when you're at home with your kids?
Not as much as I should.
Hey, but you acknowledge it, you're conscious of it. No, that's awesome. So we're going to wrap this up. But before we do, I kind of wanted to ask you 3 things. What would be the 3 ideas that if you were to start a small business, what 3 ideas would you not pursue knowing what you know now?
Starting a small business, and looking back over the years, one thing I think I would set out better is writing down goals.
Okay.
Writing down specific targets that you can hit.
Okay.
Wins. And not every win has to be something big. Hey, I want to make $1 million. That's the big goal. But maybe it's like, I just want to make $10.
Yeah.
And you can take that stepping stone to the next level. Having, being able to focus on where you want to accomplish will get you to the end goal. Another one would be hiring the right people.
That's a good one. Yeah.
This is a challenge. It's something we still struggle with, but I've also been able to hire the right people in certain positions that we have now. Over the years, I can tell you 100 different stories on some of the employees I've had, and some are better than others. But part of that is learning who you are and what you need to, because sometimes that right employee, they're there because maybe you didn't train them correctly.
Yeah.
The mistakes that employee makes aren't always them. It could be you as a person and needing to learn on how to be a better manager and how to be a better leader to your employees and to your company.
No, that's fantastic. So that would be, the manifesting forces, the 3 manifesting forces on how to grow and become a better, business owner and just have better mental health tactics, I think. Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you coming on the show. It really means a lot, and thank you for being here with us today. Thank you all for watching today. Next week, we'll have another episode. Excited to tell you all about it. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.